Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show of podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jenn Dave and David Dollar.
Hey, Jen.
Dave.
It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast. This is our 75th episode, by the way. We have made this 75 weeks in a row. We have not skipped a week. We've gone straight through. You have put up with me for 75 episodes, which has been amazing.
Everybody give me a hand. Give me a shout out on social media for that.
Shout out for Jen for putting up with me. Woo-hoo. Okay, so before we start, I do want to go real quickly over to our Instagram, which is, of course, themsepodcast.com. We found a little comment. We put a post up yesterday, and it's one of my, like, a lot of times we will find posts from Pixar or Disney directly from them and kind of, quote unquote, borrow them and kind of post them because it was fun. And it was a post from Inside Out that had, several of the characters basically just saying, hey, take a deep breath. It's a mental health checkpoint. Take a deep breath, whatever. And this lovely commenter named, Tara SM35. I love this. Talking about the post. Y'all don't understand how much I love and need your podcast every week. So thank you. It is easy. I got 2.5 podcasts. 2 I do on a regular basis, and 1 I just kind of jump around, the Autism Podcast. You have at least 2 podcasts.
1 3/4.
1 3/4, exactly. With David's Just Is, and so it is with the editing, and I know you do editing sometimes, and so it is like we do forget. I don't want to say we forget what we're doing. I'm very proud of what we do. I'm very proud of this show, and I'm very proud of, Diva sounds great, and I'm proud of the movie podcast. I do editing there and kind of make us sound good, which is sometimes hard. But it is easy to forget that, people listen to the show, and we look at the numbers and we're like, wow, look how many people downloaded our show. But, each of these people downloading, at least half of them probably are listening. So,
that's awesome.
Let's hopefully more than that, but a lot of people are listening. And so it is easy to forget that we have real listeners out there that really like our show. And, and on one hand, it's like, really? Why would you think that about our little show? On the other hand, there are podcasts that I listen to that I'm very involved in, and I'm like, if they went away, I'd be very sad. And I look, some podcasts I listen to as soon as they drop, I'm like right on it immediately. So yeah, I'm
Divas is one, of course.
Of course, Divas is one. I do listen to that within 24 hours of it dropping. Typically, it's one that I will wait to whatever podcast I'm listening to is over and then go to Divas.
Okay.
There are a couple that I will stop whatever podcast I'm in and go straight to it. But usually, those are daily podcasts, news, whatever. But I do listen to Divas. And for the audience who doesn't listen to Divas, you should. It's a lot of fun. It's really just Jen and Christine giggling about Disney stuff. Sometimes about Disney stuff when they're not, whatever. And sometimes about other stuff. So it's a fun little show. Great guests and everything on the show as well. So good job. Jen, how did you Disney this week?
Oh my. Well, this week, I Disneyed the way I think most Disney travel planners or Disney, travel planners specializing in Disney destinations happened to Disney. I added Genie Plus to like a bunch of reservations.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of that too. A lot of people are more than I actually thought initially are saying add it, because I kind of thought I get a lot of we'll do it day by day, but no, I'm getting a ton
most people. I would say most of my clients are like, nope, just add it. We want to do it. Okay, cool. So
very cool. Yeah, so I was excited about Monday because I had heard that Lost Bros, LOSTBROS.com, they're a website that does, I don't know if they're licensed. I'm assuming they are. I have no idea. Who knows? I'm not going to get them in trouble.
No idea.
But they do a lot of Disney stuff and a lot of Hollywood Studios, Universal Studios stuff. Like the characters and different phrases. I bought a monorail shirt that has the monorail going down the side and has the Paul Mantegna on the front and everything. The saying. Yeah. Well, Monday they released pre-orders for Stacey shirts.
Yeah.
Like must do Disney Stacey, who's been on our show, past guest and future guest, Stacey shirts. I immediately ordered one. I'm so excited to have a T-shirt that says "I'm your host with Stacey" on it. And I'm going to be sporting it.
Oh, I'm so excited! Cute little umbrella.
Oh, it's great umbrellas. There's like bucket hats and stuff, and I'm like, I'm totally ordering this shirt. They released it last week that you can reorder. Yeah. You can order it this week. And so when Monday came, I'm like, order, it's mine.
So absolutely adorable. And actually, we've been in contact with Stacey, so she'll be back.
Yes, she's going to be back on the show, which is exciting. I also got to order from them too, and they're not a sponsor or anything. We just like their stuff, and I give credit to Agent Kyla, who's been on our show before, to tell she's all into the Lost Bros. Like she fangirls when she sees them in the park, and she's messaged me. She was like, "Oh my gosh!" Sent me a picture, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. I'm excited for you. What is that? Is that a Jonas brother? Is that I don't know. Is that a One Directioner? I don't know. It wasn't a Jonas brother. No. This is the Lost Bros. Who's the Lost Bros? This was the conversation we had like 6 months ago. I'm like, who's the Lost Bros? What? So we had that whole conversation, and so she turned me on to them. But yeah, I also ordered my lovely wife Stephanie a Big Thunder shirt, which will be a surprise coming in a few weeks. So It's got Big Thunder, the railroad, and everything. So really exciting. So yeah, got to Disney with all kinds of fun stuff like that. So waiting for that to come in. Of course, waiting for my next Funko Pop to come in. So all of that.
Is it shawarma? A shawarma?
It is shawarma. I've got Black Widow coming in. It's on back order. Apparently, they paid for it. It's coming in yet. And Thor apparently is I don't know if it's the secret one, which obviously it's Thor, duh, because that's the only one I don't have.
Yeah.
They really need to do something where you have to show proof of purchasing all the other 5 before you get Thor. It's going to be one of those, everybody's going to want Thor. And if I don't get Thor, I'm going to be so mad. I'm going to be so Thor at this because I've ordered like okay, so for the audience, it's Funko Pops, and they're based on the shawarma scene at the end of the Avengers, the first Avengers movie, which is one of the funniest stingers I've ever seen in my life. It's just so funny the way it's set up. Here's a little behind the scenes. They all flew back in just for that scene. Chris Evans was making a movie called Snowpiercer, so he had a full beard. So when he's sitting there, this is why he's covering his face, because he's covering the beard up completely. That's why he's sitting the way he's sitting. He's covering his face because they all flew back in just for this one thing. So the Funko released like 6 different ones that all interconnect to make the shawarma table, and you order them like they're delivered 6 weeks later, and every time the new one's delivered, you can order the next one. So I've gotten 4 Black Widows on order. It's coming. I'm hoping that Thor doesn't suddenly sell out because everybody wants Thor, because I'm like, I've been dedicated to this for a year. Come on, people. I'm gonna be so mad. So mad. Now, really, the only news, we're not going to dive into any news, but I do want to tell you that I just discovered Fear Factor Live on Stage permanently closes at Universal Studios Florida next month. And I know, Jen, again, this is like Shrek. I don't mean to blindside you with this. I should have prepped you for this.
You should have prepped me. I'm
sorry.
I didn't have my happy dance ready. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, sorry. But it's right next to Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and so probably they'll do an expansion at some point. I don't know if that's true or not, but I have a feeling they might. This is the stage where it's Fear Factor. For those of you who do remember the old show where people would eat bugs and drink milkshakes full of cockroaches, and they would climb over walls, hang off of cranes and stuff. It's that, and I actually saw taping of it, and you would compete against 3 people and for points, and they actually put bugs in a blender.
No.
Blended it and they ate it. And there was something where like there was climbing up a wall with water shooting at them, so they were falling off. The winner literally got a T-shirt and a koozie. I'm like, if I'm drinking a concoction with earthworms and cockroaches, and I'm climbing up a rock wall, getting shot with water at 6,000 psi at me, I want more than a T-shirt and a koozie.
You better be giving me some hard cash.
I want cash. Yeah, because I literally raised my hand. I was like, "Oh, this would be fun." And he was like, "In the winter," and he holds the T-shirt up and a koozie, and I'm like, hands down. I'm like, I'm good. I'm not.
Like, we don't need that.
No, I want none of this. And of course, people did it. And you can probably, Jen, I know you can go online and look on YouTube for these. I'll put it in the show notes. You can go on and watch.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great because I'll get right on that.
Just see if Fear Factor is a factor for you. So. That's the tagline by Joe Rogan. Yeah. So the next thing is that Genie Plus has, of course, dropped, as you mentioned.
It has.
Genie Plus has dropped, and I'll be shocked with you. The system apparently worked. I know there were some glitches. I've heard there's some glitches and everything.
There are a few glitches.
Like, I had a meme ready to go, like ready to post about the
I know this is like killing you, isn't it?
And I'm
it's
like,
killing you.
Dang it. Trust me, I'm going to hold on to it. I'm sure it'll be just fine. I'm sure I will get use out of it.
Eventually we can use it. But...
Eventually I will be able to use it, yes. But Genie Plus dropped. So, Jen, anything we learned about Genie Plus, anything that in particular that we need to talk about Genie Plus, it's how is it working? There's sort of a new name for something, the Lightning Lane.
So, all right.
The IAS is called something else.
So the IAS, the individual attraction selections, are sometimes now being referred to as individual lightning lane.
Oh,
those terms are sort of being interchangeable. So, I mean, just stay tuned. Who knows? It'll settle out eventually. But I really think for the most part, I mean, other than obviously a few technical glitches and of course, I think some confusion on how it works. So I think a lot of if you saw complaints on the boards, it's largely because it's a new system. People don't necessarily know how it works yet. And especially if you're not using a travel planner to prep you for it, or, you
Shame on
haven't
you.
done actual, you're just like, oh, I'm just going to add this. And you're not entirely sure what all the system does. Then, of course that can kind of complicate matters, but in some cases, yes, like things just weren't loaded properly for certain, but not across the board. For the most part, it actually was fairly smooth. I know we were in the parks, and they, they had a good time. They were able to like effectively use everything. So, I think, but yeah, individual lightning lane may now be used instead of individual attraction selection. You may also see it called a la carte. Occasionally you might see that. So the Genie Plus selections are, just as normal, other than the 2 per park. So,
well, and here are 5 things real quick, and I want to run through this. This is from Theme Park Tourist, one of my favorite sites that kind of gives random tips and everything. 5 things. First of all, you need to download the most updated version of My Disney Experience. And so if you can't find it anywhere, check your settings to make sure that because that happened to me.
It will force you. No, it'll actually force you.
Well, okay, because I looked yesterday morning.
It was like upgrade. I was like,
yeah, and it was like yesterday morning was when the update hit. So if you haven't looked at Disney at all, then you'll need to download. Make sure you get on Wi-Fi somewhere and download that. The second thing, on-site hotel guests probably have a slight advantage when it comes to individual Lightning Lane purchases because you can get them at 7 a.m., whereas all the other commoners that are off property have to wait until park opening, be it 9 or 10 or whenever that is.
Whatever.
So that's important to remember. Genie Plus attraction reservations will and can sell it even if the service doesn't. Now, you have to put your Fast Pass hat on for this. Because if you get in, and I'm thinking back to when Toy Story Mania first opened.
Yes, exactly.
Back in 07, 08, we would get there. And, of course, I was the Fast Pass runner. I had to run across the park to get the Fast Pass with everybody's tickets. And, you're watching the board incrementally creep up. And as you get there, the park opens at 9 at Hollywood Studios. And you're already seeing Fast Pass return time is 11:30 because all the other people have gotten there ahead of you. You get in line, you get up there. When you come back out, it says Fast Pass return time 4:30 p.m. Right. Within 30 minutes, there's no Fast Passes
Nothing
available
left for the day.
This is how this is going to work as well, which I would love to tell you it's different because, we're paying for this. So, yes, you should be expecting something else. No, it's not. These will sell out. Now, Genie Plus will not sell out. They will sell Genie Plus to anybody and everybody who wants to buy it.
Because the fact is, just because, let's say, Big Thunder is sold out doesn't mean that Jungle Cruise is sold out.
Right.
Or that Pirates of the Caribbean is sold out.
Very true. And this is also going to come into, and I will always harp the importance of travel planners. This is where our experience comes in because we're going to be able to help you determine how do you plan your day.
Yeah.
How do you plan it if the big ones you want, like the Big Thunder and Splash Mountain, are sold out by 10 a.m. You're looking and you're like, well, what's available? We can talk you through it. We can kind of figure out, what? Go ahead and do Jungle Cruise. Go ahead and get the attraction for this, that, and the other, which is good. Now, they won't sell it every day, and I think it might take a little while to sell it as people are getting there. You can also stack reservations for later in the day as long as you don't mind waiting. So if you book a Slinky Dog Dash at 8 a.m. park opening for 2:30, you have to wait until 11 to book a return time for another attraction, which means you can get a 11:30 return time for Twilight Zone, Tower of Terror, ride it immediately, and then book another reservation for Toy Story Mania at 12 while still holding on to your 2:30 Slinky Dog. Now, I don't think it's going to let you hold 3. So if you book one at, say, 2:30 or 3, and then there's one they book at 1 o'clock. I don't think at 11 o'clock it's going to let you get another one. I'm not really sure.
So from what I understand, so let's say at 7 a.m., which is when you can book your first Genie attraction, you book Slinky Dog Dash and it's like 1 p.m. or whatever, like you said, then 2 hours after park opening. So if park opens at 9, just to keep it even, then at 11 a.m. you can choose another one. But I think what I read, and I do need to verify this, I will verify this myself next week, is after you use the 11 a.m. you can get another one. You know what I mean? So you'll have that, that 1 p.m. Right. You can just keep using them, but then at some point you're gonna have to use the 1 p.m. before you.
Right. So you can stack them up to a certain point. It's not really gaming the system, but you have to know how to use the system a little bit.
If you want an individual attraction selection though, you can have that because that doesn't count with your Genie.
Right. Also, purchases can be or should be made as early in the day as possible for full value. And this is what it says here. I'll just read this to you. No matter whether you're interested in the $15 Genie Plus service or the individual Lightning Lane, individual attraction selection, Fast Pass Plus, Genie Plus attraction upcharge, the ones you have to pay for, you will get the most value out of these add-ons by purchasing early in the day. You can purchase Genie Plus at 7 o'clock at night if you want to, or 10 minutes before closing. But you're not going to have the value if you're going to do it. So if you haven't purchased it within an hour of park opening, I don't know if this can be worth it because you're losing all your good times.
Exactly.
And honestly, with our family, if we pay $15 a piece, that's $45 for one day. And I know families of 4, 5, and 6 are obviously paying a lot more.
Yeah.
If you're a family of 4, that's $60. But if it means we can ride Slinky Dog Dash and, say, Millennium Falcon all within the first, say, 2 hours of park opening, it's almost worth it. I mean, and then you're able to use it for the rest of the day. Maybe you have, I don't know, for us, maybe it might be worth it because those are 2 massive attractions that we're done with.
That you're done,
and
you
then
already have them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and unless it's super, super duper busy, and again, I'm putting my Fast Pass hat back on,
right.
Tower of Terror was typically available later in the day. So it's not like nothing else available. So
And now these days, like, obviously when Rock and Roller Coaster was selling out more quickly, some of these weren't there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Star
Wars.
Well, the way they were setting them up,
really
too, back in the day is, remember, they had like the 2 or 3 you could choose from at the top. You had to pick one, and then pick 2 from the bottom. And when they moved Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror to the bottom section, then I felt like those were available.
Those were available,
like later on in the day, So it's not as if I want to ride Rock and Roller Coaster, then I'm never going to get it. So why should I get Genie Plus? I'm not here to harp on saying you should buy Genie Plus. You have to make that decision for yourself. Right. But I'm seeing a value in it. And
I do think that also people are like, well, the lines have been short because I've had clients say because of capped capacity. Capacity, we don't know what it is, but we haven't noticed really a cap anymore.
Right.
So if you're like, no, they're at 50%, no, we don't know what it is.
Yeah, and it is a chance you take because if you purchase the individual attraction, individual lightning lane selections, the IAS, ILLSs, whatever they're called, say for Everest, which is an Animal Kingdom, which I think all of us agree is kind of silly. You pay the $28 for the family of 4 to ride it, and you walk over and you're like, oh, it's a 17-minute wait. Really? We just purchased this? Mm-hmm. You know what? Come off it, ride it again. So that is something you just have to kind of take into consideration. Yeah, what do you do? Those. I don't know.
Now, with Genie Plus attractions, though, they are apparently showing you the current wait time, as well as what your return time. So if it's like, oh, shoot, and again, I'll use Big Thunder Mountain because I know it's a proper attraction. Right. But it's only a 25-minute wait. Well, then why are you going to wait 2 hours to go use a Fast Pass or a Lightning Lane Genie Plus?
Yeah. Now, also, and I mentioned this to a client yesterday. I was talking to him about Genie Plus, and he was asking me about, their trip is in January. What about this? What about that? And I finally just came out and said, I'll be honest with you. We don't know how this is going to roll out. We know how it's rolling out, obviously, but we don't know the trends. When your vacation rolls around early January, we'll have a conversation a couple of weeks beforehand to be able to say, over the last month to 2 months, I've seen this is what's happening. Rise is selling out every day. You're going to want to get it. Or Rise is not selling out till probably noon every day, so I think you're okay. Or these particular attractions are gone immediately. So we're going to be able to see these things, but it's going to take at least a couple weeks for us to really get some trends down to say.
Data. I mean,
exactly. Now, one thing I do love about the fact it's called Individual Lightning Lane is that's IL. So really, you and I, we have taken the webinars, we've taken the certifications, we're Disney certified on this stuff. We're kind of licensed to ill. I'll be honest with you.
Oh my gosh, no!
I know that's
I'm petitioning the Bob right now.
That joke is kind of a beastie. Boy, is it bad.
Oh my
God. All right, so you got to fight for your right to Genie. So
I can't.
Oh gosh, it's a good thing Kyla actually doesn't listen to the show because she'd be like, "Dad, Joe,
Kyla, help me." Kyla doesn't know who the Beastie Boys are, though.
Yeah, do what?
Kyla doesn't know who the Beastie Boys are, though.
No, she probably. No, actually, she said she does, but there's a whole inside joke there for the audience. They're like, "What's happening right now?" So we want to talk about World Showcase, and I know we've talked about Epcot a lot in the days since we have returned from the parks, but. We kind of want to do some Epcot stuff here because the Food and Wine Festival is going on, which I love the Food and Wine Festival.
I do too.
I had so much fun when I was there with all my people, with all you people. It was great. I had my first mimosa. You're not supposed to chug it, so I did.
Okay. Cool. Interesting choice.
I don't know. I just kind of turned up and drank it because Sarah wasn't going to drink it. And I was like, okay, look. And she was like, you're not supposed to chug it. You're supposed to sip it. And I'm like, I'm busy. I got stuff to do. And so anyway, my first mimosa. But we want to walk around. I want to walk a virtual walk through World Showcase, kind of starting in Mexico and kind of go all the way around the loop and talk about each pavilion. I thought it would be fun to kind of give our favorite parts about each pavilion and kind of give where they rank on our list. And I know that we both kind of rank them 1 through 11 to kind of talk about, which one we like, this, that, and the other. And also, kind of some fun stuff here. I've issued the challenge for both of us, and we'll see if Jen does it or not. For us to come up with some sort of attraction in the pavilions that do not have attractions. So obviously Mexico and Norway do. When we get to China, I've got an idea for that too. So we'll just kind of see how it goes from there. But let's talk about Mexico first. And this is the place that everybody goes to. Everybody's like, go to Mexico first. Go to Mexico first. And I guess it's because it's the one that people recognize most with La Cala Del Tequila, which is there, the tequila bar. This is kind of like, this is where I identify if you're going to get buzzed at Epcot, this is where you go. And I think people want to start their day there versus starting in Canada, going all the way around and already being drunk by the time they get there and saying, I can't do anymore. You start your day at Mexico, get your drink on, going there. And I don't know this for sure. Like, honestly, I seldom drink, and I know you don't drink a lot either. So I can't really speak to the buzziness.
I don't know. I've never
Mexico.
tried that, but I know people who have.
Oh, I do too, and I know people who have who don't drink and drink non-alcoholic stuff all the way through, and
even then, I feel like I get like sugar rush because they do have good non-alcoholic drinks everywhere.
They do. Of course, Mexico's at they got the big pyramid there, and that's the San Angel Inn restaurant, the big pyramid there. There's a couple of restaurants there. So here's my thing with Mexico. For me, 1 through 11, I rank this 8th on my list as enjoyment because I don't eat a lot of – this is going to sound stupid. I don't eat a lot of authentic Mexican food. I like the Mexican restaurant down the street where I can get a cheap quesadilla with some sour cream on top.
Wow. Okay.
They serve – maybe it's not authentic, but they serve
it's
a lot
authentic.
more –
it's pretty authentic.
They serve a lot more authentic tacos than you're going to find in your neighborhood corner market.
The original San Angel is in Mexico City.
Yeah. And so I'm like, this is give me some Taco Bell. Can I have a Dorito Loco Taco? And I'm gonna get hate mail for that. Really, I like the Grand Fiesta Tour, which is there. It's a lot of fun. With 2 Caballeros, I love the fact that Donald has 2 rides in Disney World, not just one, which is kind of fun. And poor Minnie's got nothing. Well, she shares the co-building with Mickey, but so yeah, where's this rank for you? What is your thing on Mexico?
Mine is significantly higher than yours.
Okay.
Mine is actually 3.
Third.
I love the atmosphere inside. They used to have the mariachis inside as well, and I think the mariachi Cobre they're fantastic. And I love the 3 Caballeros ride. I love just I don't know the evening atmosphere. I just think it's cute, and we always like walking in there. So that actually goes like probably 3rd on my list.
And it's so dark in there. It's so dark.
Nice and cool
it is nice and cool, and there is a lot of that culture that is in there. The little gift shops are really a lot of fun. The tequila bar is there. I don't drink, but I've been to that line, which is very popular.
That line gets crazy.
People will tell you that it's worth it, though. If you can wait, there's an avocado margarita there. That's great.
We followed in Kyla. Didn't Kyla get that? No, Kyla got the smoked one or whatever.
No, she got the one. So the Kyla show somehow. Heather's gonna hate this. So she got the one with the hibiscus around the rim.
That's right.
It was disgusting. It was so nasty. It was just like, and Agent Kelly tried it too, and she was like, "That's gross," and I'm like, "It is gross." And
Kyla, she didn't care.
It was no, she didn't care. I don't know that she was tasting anything about the point, but no. So it's also it's a fun place. Now this is like I liken these pavilions to the Cheesecake Factory. Mexico for me might be cheesecake with walnuts and pecans on top. I don't like walnuts and pecans, but I'll eat that cheesecake and really enjoy it. So this is not like I hate the Mexico Pavilion. This just happens to be where it falls, which explains a lot when I walk over to Norway, because Norway for me is probably last on my list of pavilions. It's 11th on my list because the Frozen ride is there, but the Akershus is not reopened yet. We've heard rumors that it may or may not reopen. Right now it's a lounge for a healthcare company and their employees, which I didn't know they could. Who knows how much money they spent to put a lounge there, to Advent Health of Florida or whatever it's called. The gift shop is fine. It's Norwegian. You got the big troll there. But Norway doesn't do a lot for me. I mean, it's especially with that Akershus. It's just like, it's okay. It's like, whatever.
Oh, wait, Norway is like 10th on my list. But here's the thing. I love the shop because I love the, what is it? Helle Hansen. They have like those jackets and stuff from Norway. And my perfume is in there as well. The Lila from Ness. So I like the Norway shop, and I like school bread because school bread is really good. Pastry. Have you had school bread, David?
I don't think I have. I don't think I've had that. No, I don't.
I haven't. You call yourself a Disney travel planner?
I haven't eaten a lot in. Well, you call me that sometimes. I haven't, among other things. I haven't had many pastries or many.
It's like a
foods from there,
donut-ish thing, but it's like I don't know. It's like cream filled, and there's it's very very good. You have to go to Norway and get some school bread.
Do they have a walk-up counter or like a counter service? I guess it's that.
It's a they sell sandwiches too. It's
okay.
First thing when you walk in on the left. The first door.
I've never even noticed.
See, there's that little covered patio where people are eating.
Yeah, I know the patio and stuff. Yeah, which
connected to the. I
guess I thought there was the advent of health of Florida people eating from the lounge there that they were getting from.
No, that's over where Acristus is. No.
Oh, party on then. No idea.
Go get you some school bread.
Now, I do love the Frozen Ever After attraction.
Okay,
I do think the attraction is wonderful. Mm-hmm. I like it better than Maelstrom. Maelstrom is fine. It's one of those. Disney fans are funny because they're like, oh my gosh, we miss Maelstrom. Well, if you guys went to Maelstrom more often than not, then we would still be there but nobody went there, so they took it away.
Not true. There's not true.
Well, for you specifically, you liked it, but like it wasn't like a 5-minute wait every time.
For Maelstrom, there was always a line.
Well, towards the end, yes, people were like, "We're gonna go back to Maelstrom. We love it."
No, there was
5 years ago, 10 years ago, nobody.
I was still waiting 30 minutes. I was still waiting 30 minutes.
Nobody's going to Maelstrom. Nobody's going to Maelstrom. No, I like Maelstrom. Again, don't send Jen hate mail. I like Maelstrom. It was okay, but it's whatever. Now, one thing I do want them to fix is again, and I've mentioned this before, where they have that discoloration between the face and the neck of the animatronics. It's just weird as you're going by. It's like
that is weird.
Yeah, it's like Anna and Elsa have been working in a coal mine up to their necks, and so they're covered in soot, but their faces are clean. It's just weird. Great attraction.
That is weird.
A lot of fun. Let's keep walking now to China. And I ranked China somewhere in the middle, actually. China comes in at actually 9th on my list. So now we've gone 8, 9, and 11 for China. I like China, and I like the area. The culture is great. Nine Dragons is just okay. I feel like it's a pretty good Chinese restaurant. You can get pretty good Chinese restaurants in a lot of places, even around Birmingham, Alabama. So it's nothing like, you got to eat at Nine Dragons. When we've been there for spring break, the fact that we can walk up and find a reservation for like 5 people at any time of the day tells you something. So it's okay. But however, I do think we should put an attraction in there. And I want to put a Mulan dark ride in there, similar to a trackless ride, similar to what we've seen with Remy, where you have, but this time you're on some sort of a horse contraption or some sort of carriage contraption with you and 5 of your closest friends, and taking you through the scenes in Mulan. You can do live action and animated if you want. Taking it through the adventure, Mulan's yelling at you to help. You gotta fight in the army as well. You gotta help save, but you're on the carriage. You've got to deliver the stolen Chinese plans to whatever. I can see something like that happening. I think that would be a fun attraction for all ages. I think it'd be fun, not too scary. Getting Mulan the princess in there. So, what do you think about the pavilion? Where does it rank for you?
Yeah, that one is. This is terrible. It's actually 11th on my list. Now, I think it is a beautiful pavilion.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It's absolutely gorgeous. I love to walk around and just look at it. The shops are honestly a little overwhelming because it's kind of like maze-like once you get into the shops.
There's a lot in there.
There's a lot in there. Very cool. And there is some really, really neat stuff in there. So this is not Jen saying, oh, I hate the China Pavilion. It's just, I don't go see reflections of China, and there is no attraction in the China Pavilion. Yeah. So aside from now, when they had the acrobats, I would absolutely stop and go look at the acrobats, doing stuff in that courtyard areas. That was fascinating. They're amazing. I just don't have a lot of, and I, again, don't like Nine Dragons. I have much better Chinese food up here in Pittsburgh. So I'm not a fan of it.
What do you think about the egg rolls? Do you eat the egg rolls?
The egg rolls are good. Yeah, the egg rolls are good.
Stephanie loves the egg rolls. So that's a point in his favor. So, and again, this is not the China's a bad pavilion.
Soy. But, Brady's allergic to soy. So we just don't do a lot of Japanese Chinese because there's a lot of soy sauce and and so unless we're sitting down, and then it just becomes a whole thing. So that's just not a pavilion I spent as much time in. And I think some sort of a China boat ride would be really cool, but I want Mushu.
Okay.
And and actually it's funny. I know quasi producer Heather also says that China should have a boat ride. No, she has a big affinity because she has been to China multiple times. And so she knows a lot about how things are done. She thinks that would be a good fit. I agree with her, but I want there to be also Mushu because I love him.
That's a good call. That's a good call on that. Also, China, a terrible place to watch Harmonious.
Oh, terrible. Do not.
Terrible. Because looking from the side there, Stargate, basically you see the side of the rim, the side of the hoop, and it's not Which, by the way, I'm seeing a lot of places call this Stargate now. I've been calling this for a year, ever since they opened up the thing. So I just want you to know that if you hear me say Stargate, don't be like, he's copied and so it's a website. No. I said it first. They copied it from me. I'm sure they all listen to this podcast. So walk past the outpost across the bridge, and the outpost, of course, is really just refreshments and things like that. Probably a good place for a pavilion, and we'll get to that a little bit later. Germany is our next one. Now, Germany, for me, I rank it second on my list.
Wow.
I love the Germany Pavilion, and here's why. First of all, the caramel shop is incredible. I love the caramel shop. It's a great place to get candied apples. It's a great place to get snacks. It's a must-do for us. We always go there. I'm not a big Snow White fan, but I love that Snow White is always there. Like, I love the Snow White. She's one of the princesses that is a constant in her pavilion. She's always there, sometimes with Dopey, sometimes with Grumpy. Yep. The little miniature train set they have sitting there is fantastic. It's so cute.
Yes.
And I'm a big, I love stuff like that. I love miniatures, and I love things. Probably why I like Legos so much. I love having little miniature things. So that whole setup is just fantastic. Yeah. My kid loves it, who loves trains. He loves that. So the whole shop there is kind of cool. The Christmas shop that is there. Beer Garden is pretty good food. It's not the restaurant I would hang my ranking on for this. But
it's good.
Beer Garden is good. And it's also one, too, whereas Nine Dragons is, you can always get a reservation because it's not that great. Beer Garden is surprisingly fairly easy to get a reservation at, and it's pretty good food. So it's one of those, like, Rose and Crown is booked. And it's all you can eat. Rose and Crown is booked, and St. Angela is booked. Hey, Beer Garden's probably open. All you can eat. So your thoughts on Germany?
Germany's 4 for me.
Okay.
And I think, well, first of all, you mentioned some of my favorite things. The caramel shop always is, that's a must. I also love going in and seeing the Christmas shop, because they always have that Christmas shop in there. Yeah. And I just think, I've been to Germany, so some of my highest affinity pavilions are because it reminds me of the country, actually reminds me of countries that I've been to. So it's like happy memories. So I really do enjoy, and I just love the look, that classic German architecture kind of situation. I think it's really cute. So definitely number 4. And yes, I do like Beer Garden, and I love pretzels.
Pretzels are good. Or as Stacey would say, pretzels und Bier. So
yes.
It's a good place to get beer. If you're a beer drinker, I am not, so I can't speak to any of that. But German beer is a big thing.
But hey, at Beer Garden, whenever they're doing the toast, you better believe I'm picking up my iced tea or whatever. Sicky saki, hoy. I'm like, it's good.
That sounded like
participating.
That sounded like a one of those cheers from Bugs Bunny cartoon. Tiki-saki, rip, boom, ba.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's tiki-saki.
Bugs Bunny, rah, rah, rah. All right, so keep walking over here to the Italy Pavilion, and Italy is number 5 on my list, so it's kind of somewhere in the middle now. I do love Italy, and it's a beautiful pavilion. I love Via Napoli. It's a great restaurant, and now I'm kind of looking at it going, should it be 5? Maybe it should be higher, but I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with 5. Top 5 there. Great pavilion. It's open. It's open, but it's kind of a small pavilion. Basically, it's just one walkthrough. Like, it's one straight back thing. There is no having to walk around buildings or walk into whatever. It's just everything's there. Via Napoli's at the back. You can get pizza by the slice. Of course, you can get the big pizza that's there. They have the wood fire grills in the wall, the stone grills, which are great. They pH balance the water to match ingredients from Pittsburgh. They get it from Pittsburgh. Yeah, they pH balance the water. They match it stuff from Italy and everything, which is it's as authentic as you're going to get. It's good. It's good food. They have the gelato that's there. And I'm hanging this ranking on the food more than anything else. They've got a couple of restaurants there. The pasta is great. The Tutto Italia or whatever it's called. I can't say all the words, but those are good. I love me some Italy. So for you?
Oh, this is number 2.
Oh, wow.
This is 100% number 2 on my list. I loved going to Italy whenever I got to go in 2017. And so there are so many aspects, like the pillars. Those are actually based on the ones in Venice. Some of the buildings are based on other things that I've actually seen. So I love going to Italy. I love the food in Italy. I love the shopping in Italy. They have like the purses and the scarves, and they have cute little coffee things and the Topolino and all of that. Like, I'm a huge Italy Pavilion fan, and I love watching now Harmonious from that location.
Oh, and it's a great angle too.
Early. That's
definitely. So it's a good angle though from that spot there. Obviously, the best angle is the next pavilion. That's American Adventure, except they have the big theater there. Because one of the things whenever I saw whenever I saw Stargate was that I wanted to walk over and I was like, what a great picture to have Spaceship Earth centered right there in Stargate. You can't because the American Adventure is right there.
Can't do it.
So you can't do it. American Adventure for me is 4th.
Okay.
And I wanted. Oh, hold on. Let's go back to Italy real quick. We need to put a ride in there. Actually, we go back to Germany. We need to put a ride in Germany.
What?
For Germany.
Okay. Yes.
They need to bring back Snow White Scary Adventures. That's a great place for that ride.
That's a fantastic idea.
Find the pieces for it. I'm sure they have it somewhere. And rebuild that ride. People would love it. It's a dark ride.
Yep.
You know, over there in the corner where it's kind of dark, because it's kind of dark at Epcot at night and World Showcase. Yeah. Great atmosphere for it. That would be awesome. For the for Italy. This is a movie that does not get a lot of love. I think there should be a Cars 2 attraction. A lot of Cars 2 takes place in Italy. A lot of Cars 2 takes place in Italy.
Okay, interesting.
You know, you've got a lot of the characters take place in Italy there. Basically, the whole scenes in Italy are all about family and things like that. And Cars 2 is not a good movie, but of course, Lightning McQueen sells merchandise. Mater sells merchandise. You could have some sort of like Luigi, exactly. And so you could have some sort of like mission kind of thing going on there, almost like the Kim Possible thing, except do it there in Italy. You could also, I also was thinking too of some sort of like motion simulator attraction where you board Lightning McQueen and like 6 people in a car, and it's kind of thinking Back to the Future with the way that used to work in Universal. Everybody's in the car, and you kind of the video screen and stuff. I'm not really like pushing for more 3D, but that could work in a small space. You know, so do a Cars 2 attraction of some sort. Did you have anything for Germany or Italy in terms of attractions?
Yeah, Germany. Well, although I did actually think of Snow White as well, because like she always pops into mind first as as an attraction. But I think the other thing, Rapunzel could also fit into there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Option. Yeah.
Okay. Is that a German kind of feel to it? I mean, is that Germany-ish?
Yeah.
Germanish?
I don't know why, but a lot of people associate that, and I don't know if it's just like because people associate that or because it's actually based in Germany, because I don't know that Rapunzel is in a real country, but I think it might be a German fairy tale, possibly. Don't quote me on that. Don't even Google it because I might be wrong. I could Google it.
See, I don't think I don't think I could put Rapunzel in Germany, only because I feel like that's Snow White's thunder, because people already like Rapunzel in popularity. Rapunzel towers over Snow White, and
pun
so
intended.
you know, pun definitely intended. So I would hate for Snow White to be all bitter and stuff because Rapunzel stole her thunder, which is exactly what happened in Germany.
But you already said Snow White, so
that's true.
I was just presenting an alternative
in
option.
Jen's Epcot. I got it.
So
Jen's
you
World
see,
Showcase.
so I
That
had
makes
now
sense.
in Italy, on the other hand, this one, Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, good call.
That is actually an Italian. It's funny when we were in Italy, like you're seeing like little Pinocchios everywhere. So I think you could even repurpose and maybe zhuzh up, so to speak, the Disneyland dark ride. Bring that over here. That is one of the first ones you.
How do you spell zhuzh, by the way? Just out of curiosity.
You know, I don't actually know how to spell zhuzh.
I've heard people say zhuzh and zhuzh up, but I've never known how to spell.
I've never seen it written. I just know what it sounds like. So
I wonder what Siri would do if I said zhuzh into the phone. Anyway.
Interesting.
All right, so back over to the American Adventure. This is number 4 on my list, and I may be giving a little bit of credit ranking it that high because there's not a lot to it. Now, having said that, the American Experience is there, which is fantastic. The choir is there. The American Experience is wonderful. If you don't want to go to Hall of Presidents, you can get the same kind of vibe here at American Experience, the American Adventure. The Regal Beagle is there. I have not tried the food. I've heard it's good.
It's very good.
It's good. Of course, you got the amphitheater there. But there's not a lot in terms of like things to do there other than see American Adventure or whatever, or American Experience, and eat there. They need to bring the Muppets back over here. The one they had over in Liberty Square,
in Magic
where
Kingdom,
the great moments in history with the Muppets. They need to do that over here. I feel like it's a large enough area you could do it. You could easily do one of the windows in the American Adventure building there off to the side, because I went there with the girls and we were kind of hanging out, standing in line at the beer carts and stuff for some of their preferences. And so I know that there's room. I know there's places to go. And so I feel like this is something you could have a crowd gathered, and I would love to see the Muppets redo that and even add 2 or 3 more of those stories, because those were fantastic. Those were so good, and I miss those. So I think you could easily do the Muppets here in the American Adventure.
So I have American Adventure as number 7, and I love the American Experience. I really do. I just don't always take the time to go in and watch. It just kind of depends on how my day is going, but I adore Voices of Liberty. I could listen to them absolutely all day long. I love it.
They're so good.
They are so good. The Regal Eagle, I think has great food. It's it's quick service, but it's very, very tasty. And even like out front, you can get the funnel cakes, but there's a treat that Brady likes. It's like half snow cone slushy and half ice cream. I don't know. It's like called the American something or other. It's red, white, and blue. So
Right.
he says that's really tasty as well. I guess I didn't really think too much about another attraction to put in here. So I'm going to agree with you on the Muppets because I love the Muppets. They could use some more representation. And I feel like that could be
always more Muppets. Always more Muppets. Walking over now to Japan, and I put Japan actually 6th on my list, right behind America or right behind Italy. Japan is fairly large. They got that great gift shop in the back. Of course, I love Japan more than anything, like in terms of snacks and stuff, because they have that little thing there, the Kabuki Cafe with the cookie kori, the shaved ice and everything. And I've talked about that before. I love it so much. A lot of great little places, and I was shown this when I was there last time by somebody. A lot of great little places to kind of sit and relax, kind of off to the side.
Yeah,
shaded tables on shaded patios that were kind of hidden. And when we went, there were hardly anybody up there. I'd never really paid attention to that.
Yeah,
and so it was a nice little place there. They've got Now, are the taffy makers, the candy makers, are they back yet? The people that make the candy and stuff?
I haven't seen them, which I also haven't looked for them. So it doesn't mean they're not back, but I haven't seen them.
Right. I do know that they have a large gift shop, and the gift shop is a lot of fun because it's very quirky. It's very branded, a very Japanese culture. So a lot of things, you'll find things like Hello Kitty that you wouldn't find in any of their shop because that's Japanese brand or that's Japanese licensed or whatever. I think they need to do a Baymax ride here from Big Hero 6. And honestly, looking at the map, I feel like there's room. You could put a small coaster here. You really could be small, maybe even like a Wild Mouse kind of coaster or something like kind of higher and not taking up a lot of space. You could do a coaster here easily, Baymax themed. I don't know how you do with that, whether fighting the bad guys on Big Hero 6, but you could easily do, and I think that would be cool having the Guardians coaster towards the front, having the Baymax coaster close to the back. I mean, I think that'd be awesome.
That's a great idea. I actually also had Japan at 6. And again, the gift shop is so great. You can pick your pearl, if you're like into that, you can go get a pearl, and it's ginormous. You could just like walk through that place. So Mitsukashi is what it's called. And that's a department store over in Japan. So the culture is like spot on. I also think it's beautiful. I love the taiko drummers that come out and do the entertainment. It's like a Japanese style of drumming, and they're phenomenal. If you look at their arm muscles, it's like super impressive. I'm just saying. The food's good. In Japan, again, we don't eat there a lot because of Brady's allergies, but it's still very good whenever I have eaten there. I agree with Baymax theme. I was thinking more, I guess I didn't look at the space to see that there's room for a coaster. So I was like in my head, like, well, it might have to be some sort of like a simulator kind of situation, like flying with Baymax, a la Soren, but something along those
well, I mean, there's probably not that much room. But I'm looking at the map, and it looks like there's room behind the American Adventure. So you can kind of have the coaster come back from Japan and go out behind that in the back
and
there.
Then come back,
obviously the park maps doesn't give you all the land that's behind it, but I feel like you have a little room there to work with, I think. So that's Japan. Let's walk now over to Morocco.
Okay.
Morocco is where you'll find Spice Road Table. You'll also find the Tangerine Cafe when it's open. I think it's open now.
It reopened. It just reopened.
And also Marrakesh Express, which is which is the restaurant there for the table service and stuff. Morocco is 10th on my list. And it's 10th because while I appreciate everything, this is a beautiful pavilion.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Crafted so beautifully. It's one of the few places in Epcot you can go, certain spots in this pavilion, you can stand and do a 360 and not see any other part of the park other than just Morocco. Very few places like that. However, it just does nothing for me. It just, I don't like the food. This is not my style of food. I'm not saying it's bad food. I know a lot of people that love it. It's not my style of food. I don't eat spice. I don't eat a lot of curry. I don't eat a lot of Indian food. I don't eat a lot of Middle Eastern food. So this does nothing for me. It doesn't do anything for me. I walk around going, okay, this place looks great, but that's it. So, that's why I ranked 10th, because I walked through it. I'm like, oh, this is gorgeous. It looks beautiful. It's great. Okay, what's next? Are we walking? What are we doing? Let's walk over to France. It just doesn't do anything for me. So,
I have Morocco as 9th on my list. Okay. And I will say I do like Spice Road Table a lot. I enjoy like the small plates kind of situation, and they have really good hummus. I've eaten there with Christine on more than one occasion. We love eating outside and overlooking the water. It's so pretty. I do love the shops in there because it is super immersive. If you go back into the pavilion, like with all the shops and everything, lots of authentic type of merchandise and things of that nature. I love that it was is it a king of Morocco? I should know this, but
the Sultan? I don't know.
This,
I'm thinking of Aladdin.
You're thinking, yeah. And in any case, the head guy in Morocco sent his craftsmen and his artisans to help build that pavilion. So it is very authentic.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm sure it is.
With all the tile work and all the mosaic, just different things. So I very much appreciate the craftsmanship. And they used to have that band outside, and they had like a belly dancer. She was always entertaining to watch. Of course, that hasn't been back since COVID, but
right,
very entertaining. But yeah, that's 9th on my list.
What attraction would you put there, or would you?
I froze.
What else?
Oh, I'm back.
Am I still frozen? Okay.
No, I froze.
You frozen a couple times actually, but I was talking earlier when you were doing this.
Okay. Interesting.
So I just kept talking until you unfroze.
Good call. Good call.
So what is there an attraction that you would put here? What would you put here in terms of entertainment?
It would have to be an Aladdin attraction.
Obviously.
It has to be an Aladdin theme. I don't know if it's it's funny, we were chatting with quasi-producer Heather, and she said something with a magic carpet ride. So I mean, I don't know. I guess you could put Aladdin's magic carpets.
You could actually just pick that up and move it on over, which would be good.
Move it right on over with the
move it over.
camels.
So I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking, something different than the magic carpets. I'm thinking, what if you did some sort of Genie experience? Not Genie as in, well, I guess you could do this now. It would be really confusing. Let's just pretend that Josh turned everything back to Fast Passes. You know what? We're not calling it Genie anymore. We're going to Fast Pass. But I was thinking some sort of show where you had some sort of, I guess, magic show of some sort, where kids could participate in granting wishes, where they would learn how to do certain small magic tricks and things like that. You could have somebody dressed as the Genie doing certain things. And you're right. Now that I said that, as soon as I said that, I'm like, oh, that's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
That's just like having Cars 2 in Italy's not going to work because you have Lightning McQueen with the light. That's not going to work either. Oh, this is killing me. Magic carpet ride. Just do that. What if you did a 30-minute style show like you do for Frozen at Hollywood Studios, except do it for Aladdin and have the Genie as your narrator, because the jokes would come fast and free, and it would be hilarious.
And they have that like Aladdin for Broadway if they could just adapt it down to a shorter period.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I mean, the sing along would be fantastic because everybody knows, the Prince Ali, and Friend Like Me, all those songs, Part of Your Not Part of Your World, Whole New World, Whole New World, whatever. It's all different worlds. Yeah. So all right, let's walk over now to the France Pavilion. They already have a ride there. It's called Remy.
They do.
Number one on my list. Because, and I was actually a little surprised by this when I sat back, but that open area now, what they've opened, the Ratatouille area, is so fantastic. Number one, the creperie is so good. The Remy ride is so much fun. The views of the Skyliner, we'll love me some Skyliner, but the pictures I got from the Skyliner, because it goes right overhead, is great.
Yeah, it does.
The area is beautiful. The buildings are beautiful. Chefs de France is just okay for me, but I know it's a good restaurant. It's just not my favorite. My wife loves it. I've never been to Monsieur Paul. I'm assuming it's reopening at some point. I don't know. They have the little stand out there with the escargot, which is really, really good. You get that in Food and Wine Festival. I love the pavilion. I think it's my number one pavilion. It's my favorite.
It is my favorite pavilion.
I figured it would be.
Yeah, even before Remy, though, like this has been my favorite pavilion for a very long time.
I could have guessed that. I think I could have guessed that.
I mean, I have always sort of had an affinity for France. So I took French in high school, but the whole 9 years, I loved going to Paris. I loved being in France in general. I think I just love everything about it. So I love the shops back there. I love the patisserie, which is in the back, the ice cream shop, Les Artisans de Glacé, which my accent is very bad, but that's over there, and have really, really good like ice cream. It's like more gelato sort of ice cream, but yes. And now they always had like the little crepe stand, but now that it's way back, like near Remy, even better. I've always loved the shops and all the merch and everything back there. Good coffees. I also love the little mini Eiffel Tower, and I just love how it's situated.
And it doesn't lean; it goes straight up and down, which is nice.
Straight up and down.
No leaning, which is nice.
So yeah, this is hands down my favorite pavilion. Love the food, love everything, love it.
And it's large, and there's so much to explore here.
Yeah.
There's so much to explore. Now, I did watch. I saw the Beauty and the Beast sing along for the first time when I was there a couple weeks ago. Had never seen it. It's okay. It's told from LeFou's perspective, which is kind of weird because he's a bad guy. But it's like whatever. But the video makes it him be a good guy. Like you just misunderstood his intentions. I don't know. It was all right. But yeah, the pavilion is huge. The ride is there, and I could see this kind of thing happening with other pavilions where they did an add-on, like to Germany, where they did an extra land as you walk down the sidewalk there, and there's a new ride. Or they did that with, say, they would do that with with Norway, well, not Norway, but like Italy or something, where you have the extra room to have that extra section kind of added onto the side. And I could see them doing that, and I really like the fact they did this, and it looks great. It's beautiful.
So good.
Beautiful.
Looks so good.
So, got 2 more pavilions to go to here. United Kingdom is up next, and it's number 3 on my list because I think it's just pretty. I love the shops here. I love the shops. I love that little area, the little hedges area in the back there. I know they have characters there now. They used to have bands and stuff. Maybe they still do. They would
Maybe
have
they'll come back.
They would have like Beatles tribute bands and things like that. The fish and chips is great. I love Rose and Crown. It's very standard for me. It's fish and chips, but I love fish and chips. Yeah. The shepherd's pie there, one of the only places I will eat shepherd's pie is right there. The views of the fireworks are fantastic. If you can get on the patio, especially, I think it's a really good view from there. I love this entire land. Of course, they're in Food and Wine. They have the Ireland Pavilion, which is right there, and they serve the Baileys, which again I don't drink very much, but the Baileys is really good. The chocolate shake, and there's just a lot to look at. There's a lot to walk through here, and of course, I would definitely put the Mary Poppins attraction in here. They talked about doing Mary 100%. Poppins, and put that Mary Poppins dark ride in there, and just make it some sort of ride through, which would be awesome. They need to do that. So we're just UK rank on your list. I'm going to guess it's 5th on your list.
Very good. Yes,
Boom.
It is 5th on my list. And 100% the Mary Poppins attraction. I was crushed when they said that they had like nixed that one. I was literally crushed. I was like, no, I adore Mary Poppins. Like she might be my favorite Disney character. I
can see, because Poppins is your favorite Disney movie. So,
I love Poppins. I love Poppins, like always, always, always Poppins. So I want Cherry Tree Lane recreated, whatever it takes. What do I have to sacrifice at the front of the park to get Poppins? That's what I'm like, what am I sacrificing from this new area? You could have left the fountain. I like the fountain. Right. I love the Fountain of Nations. Give me some Poppins.
So I agree, and I feel like this is something they will go back to because I think people wanted it. Obviously, it was cut for budgetary reasons because Disney lost $4 billion over COVID, which they're making it per day now at all the upcharges they're doing. But hey, that's it. That's another story. But I think this is something they're going to go back to. I have a lot of theories, which we'll get to much later on. I think there's going to be a lot of announcements when D23 happens or Destination D happens in about a month and a half, or actually a month from now. And Epcot's 40th anniversary is next November, so I feel like this will be something. This would be part of the next wave of things they're going to do. I think they finished the Moana attraction, the water attraction. I know they've kind of put the Play Pavilion on infinite hold or indefinitely right now, but I think that's going to come back at some point.
I'm sure it will.
I feel like these are plans are going to, and I feel like Mary Poppins will get her due.
She will. But it's just I hate waiting.
I know. And finally, let's get to the Canadian Pavilion. The Canadian Pavilion, for me, it's 7th on my list, and actually it's going to come in 8th on your list if I do
correct.
my numbers correctly.
Right. Yep.
By virtue of elimination. And here's why. It's kind of the middle of the pack for me. It's a great pavilion.
Yeah.
It's got my favorite booth for Food and Wine, the steak and the soup and everything. I love that. We've talked about that before. It's very open. It's really cool looking. Of course, our neighbors to the north has got that whole thing there. Le Cellier, it's a fantastic restaurant. Haven't eaten there in a while because they went to Signature, so it's a little pricey now for me, but it's really, really good. Beyond that, again, like some of these pavilions, there's not a lot to do there for me. Like I walk through, I get the food, I enjoy it. They had the band that would play, and I forget the name of it. Was it Off Kilter?
Off Kilter. I loved Off Kilter, and they
loved Off Kilter.
Play.
They still play around town, actually.
Around Orlando, but
around Orlando. It's one of those things that I'm like, Disney, what are you doing? Why would you? I don't know why that happened, but they let Off Kilter go, and I can't speak to why, but so now they have a number of bands that have come through, and all have not made it very long because they're not. Remember they had the Lumberjacks.
The Lumberjacks. They had
not good, and so
they've got somebody there right now too. I mean, it's not that they're not good. It's just they. Not as it like everybody loved Off Kilter,
right?
And so everybody's comparing this experience to Off Kilter.
Well, didn't Morocco have a band there too? That they had a legendary band too.
That was where the belly dancer was.
Yeah, the belly dancer. But they had a band that was named something.
I don't remember the name. I just don't remember the name of.
Anyway, come on, Bob, get our bands back. But Canada is great pavilion. It's just it's just nothing there. I mean, for me to really enjoy.
They do have, I mean, aside from Le Cellier, which obviously we love, and the Food and Wine Festival booth, which is amazing. It is super duper pretty. So like going up into the back, there's this like big waterfall, and it's lovely if you've never taken the time to walk around. Of course, they sell authentic maple syrup, so it's great. I loved the Martin Short movie. The new Canada 360, I've not really experienced as much, but
Didn't they stop the Martin Short movie though? Didn't they?
They did because they have a new one. It used to be Oh Canada with Martin.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And now it's Canada 3.
Eugene Levy and Kathleen O'Hara.
Yes.
But but that's what I'm thinking of. Though. Didn't that stop? Didn't they stop that?
They
though?
did. I thought they did for COVID. I don't think it's reopened yet. But that's what I'm saying is like
gotcha.
I liked back in the day
so it's
when
probably
it was
coming back. It's
I'm
just,
sure it's coming back. It's just I don't think they're doing in that theater. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they have reopened it, but I don't recall it being reopened last time I was down there. But that's also not something I go to every single time either.
Right.
That's like, well, I might pop in. I know actually, in fact, I think they might be using it for extra food and wine space. I think somebody told me they were using it for food and wine space.
That makes sense. I don't have an attraction there, honestly, except for Brother Bear. That's the only thing I can think of that would tie in with Canada. My first thought actually was some sort of Robin Hood attraction, but that's UK. That's not even Canada. But I'm thinking like woodsy and outdoorsy and things. But
actually, Winnie the Pooh.
You know what? Would that be Canadian?
It would.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Because how was it? A. Milne was Canadian. And let me see. I'm gonna go to the Google.
6 degrees of separation. Well, because I always identify Pooh with Britain, with UK. But
a lot of people do. But I will tell you, he was an English author. But why is it? Because I was in the Canada Pavilion. They were specifically talking about Winnie the Pooh. There is a connection. There is a Canada connection now. So it's
Well, then I have the perfect attraction for this.
Okay, what's that?
It's called the Tigger Bounce. And basically, it's like a mini version of a free fall where you all strap in, like 6 or 7 people at a time, and it goes up maybe a 30 or 40-foot tower and comes back down again, kind of bounces over and over and over.
Okay.
The whole thing is themed like Tigger, and all you do is bounce. And it's like it's a kid ride that adults can enjoy too. And I'm thinking of our local theme park that has this. It's called the Fear Drop or whatever it's called. I don't know. But Drop Zone. And so. Same with the Tigger. Have it bounce, and you get on there, and it's like up and down, up and down, up and down, whatever. So
here is what happened. It's apparently, the fictional character was based on a female black bear found in White River, Ontario, and this bear eventually got taken to the London Zoo thanks to a Canadian soldier and veterinarian named Harry Colburn. So there is a Canada connection with Winnie the Pooh, and like I said, the folks in the Canada Pavilion. That's the only reason I knew that, because I was sitting there and we were like waiting for a reservation, and they were doing like trivia. This is like back in the day. And I was like,
Well, they really need to put the Pooh characters over there, because that would give people a reason to stay in Canada past the kiosks.
So here's the thing. The bear's name was Winnipeg. Like Winnipeg.
Nice.
Winnie for short.
Very nice.
So there you go. Winnie,
and it had diarrhea, so the Pooh comes in. That's perfect. I mean, I like it.
That is unsubstantiated, but
I'm a boy, so that's a connection I made, because poop is always funny.
There you go.
So what attraction or what pavilion would you put in here? If you had the space, and you don't have to tell me where it goes, because it's random space in different places.
Actually, I think there's space in between a lot of them, and honestly, there's a big space where the Africa thing is, and then they put Africa over in Animal Kingdom,
the outpost. So there's an entire space for pavilion there by the river. My thought, and this is very boring because a lot of people have thought this too, but is Brazil, because you do have that little waterway there, which you can easily mock up as an Amazon kind of thing. Have a Brazilian restaurant there. And if you've ever been to a Brazilian restaurant, it's one of those where you just get nothing but meat. That's all it is meat. It's like
basically
$60 a person, and you eat meat for an hour and a half.
You get the meat.
It's kind of like Ohana on steroids. Yes, get the meat sweat, especially in July. Come out after eating 6 pounds of
yikes.
cut beef. Do a Brazilian restaurant there. And my theory on this in terms of attractions, Disney now owns 20th Century Fox. So they have a whole stable of characters they can tap into. Rio. It's one of my kids' favorite movies as a kid. You got the bluebirds, the macaws. It's a way to do bird stuff there. You could do even do like a Flights of Wonder kind of attraction where you're actually talking to kids. Bring the birds out to the main alleyway there, to the main road there, where people can learn about the birds and stuff. but do a Rio type attraction.
Okay.
Some sort of bird-centered attraction or whatever. I just think that'd be a ton of fun because you'd be bringing the new characters in that Universal doesn't have. You can make tons of money because who's not going to want a blue macaw? They're adorable. Plush version for $38.99. Well, not the real ones, but silly. Which trivia, random trivia, by the way, the Pixar had a movie called Newt. And the premise of Newt was going to be the last two salamanders on Earth were having to work together to repopulate the species, but they didn't like each other. They hated each other. Yeah. So how were they going to get together, right? Well, of course, 20th Century Fox has this movie called Rio, where you have the last two blue macaws on Earth that are having to get together. And so Pixar scrapped the entire thing. They were like, well, we're not doing Newt, so that's it.
Guess that's not happening.
Wow, interesting. Your thought on a pavilion?
Spain. I've always wanted a Spain pavilion. I don't know why. I think it'd be so cool. I mean, you've got a lot of options, and I'm not even thinking in terms of IP, so maybe that's on me, but I'm thinking more in terms of like the food, like, cause you've got the tapas, you got the small plates that you can do. You could have like, a band like flamenco with flamenco dancers. Right. It's got such a rich cultural history. I feel like Spain could be a nice addition in World Showcase. So I don't know. That's always my thought. I'm sure there's some IP we could put in there somewhere. I don't know where Avalor is, but you could put maybe Princess Elena from Avalor. I
don't know, but I don't like Elena of Avalor, so please don't do that.
I've never seen the show at all, so I have like zero idea.
I'm actually Googling right now Disney movies set in Spain.
I don't think
Sleeping Beauty is in Germany. Beauty and the Beast is in France. Tangled is in France, by the way.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So Up is in Venezuela. Aladdin in India. This is where they're based off of, by the way. Emperor's New Groove is based off of Machu Picchu in Peru. Mulan is China. Hunchback is France. France getting a lot of love. Little Mermaid in Switzerland. Wreck-It Ralph in New York City. And Beauty and the Beast in France. So yeah, there's I don't know.
Nothing in Spain. Well, you know what? Maybe we could let's change it and make it Peru, and then we can have Emperor's New Groove, something or other, and Meredith would be excited. So
oh, that would be awesome. Yes,
we have like a Cusco attraction. Or
Isla, and our friend Matt from the Engineers podcast always said that we need to put in like a Cusco coaster. A Cusco coaster.
That would be amazing.
And so but that'd be a perfect spot for it.
There has to be like a big drop where she goes, pull the lever, Kronk.
Well, it could be one of those things like Mission Space where you got to pull the lever, and if you don't, it's like, override, and it does it on its own.
Something like that, yeah.
So that's our Walk Around World Showcase. We would love to hear what you guys think in terms of your favorite pavilions. Pavilions you like, pavilions you don't like, and maybe want some suggestions for Epcot. Yeah. Jen has connections. She'll send these suggestions on to Bob, and we'll see what happens. Maybe Josh can get involved. And quasi-producer Heather and Josh are BFFs now, so she could just probably text him and be like, hey, Josh, I got some ideas for you there. So, yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Of course, find us at themsepodcast@gmail.com. That's our email address. Also, our website, themsepodcast.com. That's our website for all the show notes and everything there. Find us on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or search out the Main Street Electrical Podcast. Jen, where can the lovely listeners find you?
You can find me at Upon a Star Jen on all the socials, and then at Jen_Novotny on Instagram.
Perfect. Find me on Facebook at Magic on $1 and Disney on $1. Those are my two Facebook pages. And find me on Instagram at The Magic on $1. And that's where you can find all my Disney stuff, my travel stuff, because, of course, we're both travel agents. And Jen is a travel agency owner, boss lady. Now, before we close up, a real special treat, something that I thought would be kind of fun. One of the big gripes that everybody has, and Josh, if you're listening, you probably heard this 1,000 times, but I'm going to say it again. We got nothing on day one. On the opening day, on October 1st, there was no speeches, no nothing. Mickey and Minnie came out and danced. Goofy did his thing, and then that was it. And so I thought, just for all the fans, including quasi-producer Heather, after Katrina does her little thing just at the very end, you're going to hear Roy Disney giving the dedication that he gave at the opening of Walt Disney World. And I thought that would be kind of fun to play, just so everybody could hear what speech could have been given by anybody. I feel like my theory, my thought now was they should have, and of course I'll have a lot of they should have, so we all do, but they could have gotten like a 50-year cast member to come up and read the speech that Roy Disney gave. Just kind of a dedication of so-and-so. Carlos has been here for 50 years. He started in September of 1971 before the park opened. He's been working in so-and-so for the last 29 years, blah, 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 whatever. And he's going to be reading whatever. What an honor for the cast member. They probably would do it for free because, my goodness, what an honor that would be. You wouldn't lose any money. Extra 2 minutes. Everybody goes home so happy. So for the 75th or for the 51st, let's get this done. So for everybody out there, happy birthday to Walt Disney World. Jen, thank you for joining us once again. Folks out there, make sure you listen up to Roy Disney in a few minutes, and don't forget to thank your Phoenicians.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or visit our website at themsepodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.